This is Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer within the walls of Latah, state of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been a trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. Corporal Payne is being assisted by members of Idaho State Police and agents of the FBI. On November 13th, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, Sergeant Blaker and I responded to King Road to assist with scene security and processing of crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police, the forensic team, was on scene and was preparing to begin to process the scene. This is the part we read, but we're going to go through it one more time. Officer Smith from Moscow Police Department, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Officer Smith directed me down a hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license. Xana's and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernoodle's, hereafter Kernoodle room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernoodle's, lying on the floor. Kernoodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined, autopsy report provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner, dated the 15th, December 15th, to be caused by sharp force injuries. I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kylie Goncalves, hereafter Goncalves' room. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the names. I apologize. I later learned from a review of Officer Nunez's body camera that there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Goncalves and her ex-boyfriend, Jack Decour. I found out from my interview with Jack Decour on November 13th that he and Goncalves shared the dog. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereafter Mogan. The bedroom, which was situated in the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Morgan's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, U.S. Marine Corps, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA suspect profile left on the button snap of the knife sheath. There we've got the DNA connecting him to something connected to the murder weapon. This is amazing. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM, they're not providing those names, were inside the King Road residence at the time the homicides were roommates to the victims. So these are the 2 survivors. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of the residence, I've learned the following. On the evening of November 2nd, 2022, Chapin and Kernoodle are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. to 1:45 a.m. on the 13th. BF also estimated that approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernoodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernoodle. Where can you find this, Elsa? You can find this on the Discord page. If you type ! Discord in chat, it will have a link to this, and you'll be able to find that. Amber's posted those on that Discord, and you're welcome to join. Going on here, it says he was a guest of Kernoodle. Goncalves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club at 202 North Main Street in Moscow. Goncalves and Mogan can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Goncalves and Mogan can be seen on video at the local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on a streaming platform Twitch, so they live streamed on Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. The video was captured by law enforcement. A private party, blank, reported that he provided a ride to Goncalves and Mogan approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the grub truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernoodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Goncalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard what she thought was Goncalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernoodle's phone showed that this could also have been Kernoodle, as her cellular phone indicated that she was likely awake and using TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. DM stated she looked out her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernoodle's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, so just northwest, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernoodle's bedroom. DM stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, a male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Good grief. The combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, reviews and forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phone, and video of the suspect a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type sole shoe, just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of King Road residence. This is unbelievable. The detail here is bizarre. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from early morning hours of November 13th in the area of King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspects' vehicles traveling to or leaving from King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have received numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of the camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound on the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steyr Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared Suspect Vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained in the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of Suspect Vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. The sightings show Suspect Vehicle 1 makes an initial three passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Walenta Drive. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video here, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Suspect Vehicle 1 could be seen entering the area a fourth time at approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When Suspect Vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park and turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a three-point turn and then driving eastbound down Queen Road. Suspect Vehicle 1 is seen departing the area of King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Suspect Vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and a review of camera footage in the neighborhood that does not show Suspect Vehicle 1 during that time frame, I believe that Suspect Vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River, interesting, is at the edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of Suspect Vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilized surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observations of Suspect Vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that the Suspect Vehicle 1 was a 2011 through 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 through 2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is 2011 through 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:45 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1 was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on and southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way at approximately 2:53 a.m. A white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington towards SR 270. SR 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage from Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2014 to a 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which connects the Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way and Grimes Way, Stadium Drive and Wilson Road, and Stadium Way and at Cougar Way. Depictions showing the Moscow and Pullman, so it's got a map of the two cities. Depictions showing the white Elantra's path of travel, not to scale. This is very hard to read here. But it's got marks on here. There are maps showing where the white Elantra was seen leaving the campus, where it was seen returning to campus, the Valley Road, directions of travel. On November 25th, MPD asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai Elantra in the area. At approximately on November 29th at 12:28 a.m., WSU police officer queried white Elantras registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate and gives the plate number. This vehicle was registered to Bryan Kohberger, hereafter Kohberger, residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way, the last camera location that picked up the Elantra. The same day at 12:58 a.m., Officer Curtis Whiteman was looking for a white Hyundai Elantras and located the 2015 white Hyundai Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. That address is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. This is happening on November 29th. They're doing this. They knew his name November 29th. I reviewed. Let's see. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. This license indicates that Kohberger is a white male with a height of 6 foot and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. This is so much more than I thought we would get. Further investigation, including the review of Latah County Sheriff Deputy CP Corporal Duke's body camera reports, showed that on August 21st, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho by Corporal Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was a sole occupant, was driving the Hyundai Elantra with the Pennsylvania plate, which was due to expire in November. During the stop, which was recorded via law enforcement body camera, Kohberger provided his phone number as blank. Hereafter, the 8458 phone. That's important. They've got his phone number, and we're going to hear more about that. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone is a number issued by AT&T. On October 14th, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop. Upon the review of that body camera report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant. On November 18th, according to Washington State Licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received Washington plate number CFB 8708, which is what he had on when he got stopped in Indiana. Prior to this time, the 2015 white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through the communications with a Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Based on my own experience and communication with Washington law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require a front and back license plates to be displayed. Investigators believe that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13th, 2022, by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado, information provided by a query to a database. Kohberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15th by law enforcement in Hannock County, Indiana. On December 16th, at approximately 2:26 p.m., surveillance video showed Kohberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Kohberger. Kohberger has a family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through the TLO search and locate tool query database query. Based on information provided on the WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote in his essay that he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by open source internet search. We've reviewed that. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13th between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. After determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 2015 white Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone in these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 and 5 a.m. So it did not show up. Based on my training, expertise, and conversation with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime or turn their cellular telephone off prior to going into a location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement to a cellular device associated with them. The cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where the crime was committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on the circumstances, this can be done a few days before or for several months prior to the commission of the crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual will not leave their cellular telephone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. On December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records. This is what we were talking about. This is what we wanted them to get. Between November 12th and November 14th for the 8458 phone held by phone provider AT&T, approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicides. On November 23rd, pursuant to that search warrant, I received records for the 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicate that the phone is subscribed to Bryan Kohberger at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since June of 2022. These records also indicated historical cell site location, what they call CSLI, cell site location information, for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with the FBI special agent that is certified as a member of the cellular analysis team, survey team. Members of CAST, that's the survey team, are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that both includes written and practical examinations prior to being certified, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Basically, they know what they're doing. Additionally, the FBI CAST SA, SA was a special agent that I consulted with, has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. From information provided by CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations of the phone from November 2nd to November 13th, the time period authorized by the court. On November 13th, at approximately 2:42 a.m., the phone was utilizing the cellular resources that provided coverage to 1630 Northwest Valley Road apartment, basically his Pullman address in Washington, hereafter Kohberger residence. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage southeast of the Kohberger residence, consistent with the phone leaving the residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network being disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or that the phone has been turned off. The phone does not report to the network again until approximately 4:48 a.m., in which time it has utilized resources that provide coverage to Idaho State Highway 95 south of Moscow, near Blaine, Idaho, north of Genesee, between 4:50 and 5:26 a.m. The phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the phone traveling south on Idaho State Highway 95 to Genesee, Idaho, then traveling west towards Uniontown, Idaho, then north back into Pullman. At approximately 5:30, the phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, Washington, and consistent with the phone traveling back to the Kohberger residence. The phone movements are consistent with the movements of the white Elantra that observed traveling north on Stadium Drive at approximately 5:27. Based on review of the phone's estimated locations and travel, the phone's travel is consistent with that of the white Elantra.
Congrats on 5K subs. The cat found this on his early morning hunt.
Thank you, that guy. Appreciate that. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th that are consistent with the phone leaving the area of the Kohberger residence and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, the phone utilized resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. Basically, you're saying he could have gone back to the scene of the crime with his cell phone on. The phone next used cellular resources that are consistent with the phone traveling back to the area of the Kohberger residence and arriving to the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. Below is a depiction, not to scale, of the possible route taken based off cellular site locations. So we have a map. This map may be important for locations for river sites for dumping a weapon. Investigators found the phone did not connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 4th, but investigators do not believe the phone was in Moscow on that date. The phone has not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Based on my training, experience, and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Kohberger, the user of the phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that was observed during Pullman, Washington, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle number 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the phone during the early morning hours of November 13th and the lack of the phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at King Road residence. On December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's historical CSLI, the information, from June 23rd to current. Ooh, that's a huge window. Prospective information, location information, and a pen register trap and trace on 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims in the case prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims associated before or after the alleged offense, any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, the location of the white Elantra registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger. They asked for everything. On December 23rd, pursuant to that search warrant, I received historical records from the phone from AT&T from the time the account was opened in June 2022. They got everything. After consulting with CAST SA, the special agent, I was able to determine estimated locations for the phone from June 22 to present, the time period authorized by the court. The records for the phone show that the phone utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. Yeah, it seems pretty solid, says Bella. One of these occasions, on August 21st, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources providing coverage to King Road residents from approximately 10:34 p.m. to 11:35, an hour and 1 minute. At approximately 11:37, Kohberger was stopped by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Duke, as mentioned above. That's where he got the violation, the seatbelt violation. I think that matches up. The phone was utilizing cellular resources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this time, Farm Road and Pullman Highway. Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed that 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho, via U.S. Highway 95. At approximately 12:36 p.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand, located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington. So he was at the area of the coffee stand. Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef's store located at 820 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington, and adjacent to Kate's Cup of Joe showed a white Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1, drive past Kate's Cup of Joe at the time consistent with the cellular data from the phone. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons showed Kohberger exit the white Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1 at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras showed Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m. Kohberger's possible path of travel is depicted below, not to scale. Additional analysis of the phone records indicated that between approximately 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m., the phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to Johnston, Idaho. The phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the phone being the area of the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspect time the homicides occurred. On December 27th, PA agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence in Albertsville, Pennsylvania. Literally, they have they have agents on a garbage truck grabbing the trash. That evidence was sent to Idaho State Lab for testing. The state lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and a DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of male population would be expected to be excluded. So basically, it's as close to a match as you can possibly get, having from his father. Based on the above information, I'm requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger for burglary at 1112 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, and for 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, Zena Kernoodle, and Ethan Chapin. I declare a penalty of perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. Signed by the affiant. Okay, that was document 1 of 3. So give me just a second here. We're going to pull up the next one.